welcome. It's Captain Matt, Boater Secret Weapon. I want to thank you for joining us for this Sunday night live. We're getting ready to start here in just a couple of minutes here. We'll start about 8:30, but I wanted to welcome you. If you've never been to a live, here's what you can expect. Just go ahead and chat in your comment section, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. Just ask your question, leave your comment there, and then as we go through the time, I just kind of scroll down all the comments and I try to answer them. Now, if it's something that I need to ask you a question, I may ask you a question and just put it in the chat again, and I'll come back and I'll get that information so I can give you a more personalized response, something that's going to really add value for you. This is just something I do. One, it's great fun. I really enjoy it. It's helpful for the community. Just sharing my knowledge. Now, one thing that you need to know, I don't know everything about boats. I know a lot about boats. I've been a boater since I was 5. I've sold boats. It's something that is a big part of my life. With that said, I don't know everything. Matter of fact, sailboats, have zero experience with sailboats. Bass boats, very little experience there. Bow riders, deck boats, center consoles, jet boats, twin engines, stern drives, outboards, inboards, all of that I have experience with. And if I have an answer, I'll give you my best answer. If I don't have an answer, I'll try to give you a resource that will be valuable for you. If I have an opinion, I'll try to give you that opinion, but let you know this is what I think, not what I absolutely know. So I look forward to it. Here's a little video intro that a subscriber made for me. Thanks, Bo. And we'll see you on the live when it kicks off here in just a moment. Hey, welcome everybody. Sorry, I'm running a little late and trying to get a drink of water. Watching football all afternoon and just off schedule. So welcome everybody to the live. Good game with the Chiefs and the Ravens. Looks like from what I saw, the Lions are up. Was the last score I saw. So hope you guys are doing good out there. Ray, welcome. 33 feet of snow. Last weekend broke the record. This weekend, all gone. Well, that's good. Snow, fresh snow. Okay, I'm okay with that. But old, dirty, nasty snow is gross. Kings in the City, welcome. Sustainability, good to have you. 10 inches last week. So cold. It's been, yes, slowly melting. That's good. Rob, good to have you. Bo, Saint, good to have you. Matt, good to have you back. Appreciate you. We're in Wisconsin. Same thing here. He's gone. Yeah, sorry about that. That's not record breaking, but a lot of snow. Yeah, I was trying to time it. Could I get my water and get back before the intro video stopped? So here we are. If you snow and ice, Bo's up in Washington State. Dave Powell, welcome from Central Indiana, Motor City. Very good. You and Ray's from Indiana as well, Pine Lake. So, what do we got? We got boat shows going on. I know there was the Charleston boat show, the Greenville, South Carolina boat show was this weekend. Where else did I see shows that were this weekend? Um, there was a big one. There was a big one in the Midwest, I thought. I'm forgetting, blanking where it was. Boat shows January 26, 2024. Yeah, Charleston, Richmond, it looks like. Where was I could have swore there was a big one somewhere. Mid-South Boat Show in Tennessee, Memphis. New York Boat Show. That's the one. New York Boat Show was this weekend as well. So hopefully you all got out there, and if you had any in your area, check them out. Rob, welcome from Ohio. Great and cold as usual. It was not too bad. Seattle Boat Show's coming up. That's a huge one. If anybody's in that area, Seattle Boat Show 2024. I think they're still doing 10 days out there. 300 exhibitors. Friday, yeah, February 2nd to February 10th. So what is that? 8 days? Yeah, that's a big long show. A lot of boats out there. Let's see who else we got. Jack to Holland, enjoy the wonderful weather. Oh, yeah, exactly. New York shows this weekend. Yeah, welcome Casey. That's a new name. Same with Jack to Holland. I think maybe you've been on here once or twice. Let's see here. What did I just lost my Mike Alexander ready for spring. Welcome, Mike. Good to have you. Now that we're February, getting ready for boating season. Yeah, it should start as we start going up into the country as the South starts warming up and the boating season starts kicking off. I'd say I get like February, you can start getting boats out around most parts of, or a lot of parts of the country below me. March, April, you start seeing it, and then we finally, folks in the upper Midwest and the Northeast, can get going as well. I had about show 3 different locations, 2 different piers, huge showroom. I didn't realize they had any in the water there up there. Lions up 24-10. Thanks for the update, John. I appreciate it. I like Herb gave me the update. Was it Herb? Or I think it was Herb gave me the updates last week. Any thoughts on repowering stern drives to an outboard? There's an increase in that going on. Yeah, here's the problem with going from a stern drive to an outboard for some boats. If they're not well balanced, so let me go full screen here. If they're not well balanced, what can happen is you take the heaviest part of the boat, which is the engine, from here, and it's actually down at the very bottom of the boat, right? So your engine is about in this section here. Your stern drive, which is some weight, is hanging off the back, but it's below the water line, so it's not as heavy, right? But what happens then, you take all of that weight and you move it to the back of the boat, and typically you're going to mount some sort of a platform, and then you're going to mount it to the platform. So instead of, let's get this one. So instead of having your weight here, all of your weight here, now you move your weight to here. And so what it can do is it can make it real bow high. And for some boats that are really well balanced to start, it's not a huge deal. But some of them that aren't super well balanced to begin with, when you move that extra weight, now it's depending on what engines you're putting on, the stern drive is likely going to be heavier than the outboards, but you put that extra weight on, and they can run bow high, and they can sometimes struggle to get on plane depending on how much horsepower you put on, what the weight situation actually is. That's the biggest concern. And the problem is you don't know until you do it, right? Like you don't know how it's going to perform with that. And not only so, the other thing that happens is not only is the weight back, but your source of propulsion is back, so it's got more of an angle to go up. So getting on plane is the tough part, and getting good performance out of it and good ride characteristics. And you just don't know until you do it. You have no idea what it's going to do until you actually move it back, change where the center of force is coming from, or whatever you call that. I'm sure there's some technical term for it that I don't know, but wherever the power is coming from, that can change a lot of the characteristics of the boat. And then, if you got a good one, it worked out well, then you're golden. That's why you'll see it a lot on at the coast. You'll see it on some of the big center consoles, because moving that weight back, you put enough horsepower on, and then you can put some weight in the bow. And it's a crapshoot, though, depending on the boat that you've got. Hi, PRPMO. Sam, I'm not sure what that is. From Knoxville. Sam, we do. My in-laws have a place on Lake Loudon, so we do a lot of boating on Loudon and Tellico near Calhoun's. That's kind of the closest landmark to where we go. And what's the other place we like? Cheers at Chodo is another place we like to go. My kids like to go to get dinner on the lake or eat on the lake. That's one of their favorite things to do when they're out there, besides just hanging out at a cove somewhere. And we a lot of times go. If you go through the little cut from Loudon to Tellico, and you've got kind of the cove where all the big cruisers anchor out. If you keep going around that bend, there's a big cliff that people jump off, a couple cliffs that people jump off. We like to go and anchor out there and watch everybody. I'm not jumping off any cliff. My wife's not jumping off any cliff, but we like to watch others do it. So good to have you. Used to deliver. Okay, there we go. We got a little Indiana conversation going on. My line of work coming up, busy season, new boaters wanting to buy. People want us to. Yep, it happens. So one thing as a boat owner that you need to know that you may not consider is how different it is from car mechanics. So car mechanics are turning wrenches 12 months out of the year. Boat mechanics, boat shops, dealers, they start getting busy whenever their boat show is. 30 days after the boat show, they've got a whole bunch of deliveries that they need to get out of the water. And then the first warm day in their area, if it's a freezing temperature, or even if most people put their boats away, everybody wants to get back onto the water the first warm weekend it's really the second warm weekend of the year. The first warm weekend, they start getting the edge. Oh, we got to get the boat out. Let's get the stuff done around the house. The second warm weekend of the year, they're like, hey, dealer, I need my boat summarized, recommissioned, ready to go. Same thing happens on the back end. Is Labor Day hits, and there's maybe that weekend after, or that week after, or a month after, depending on where you are in the country. Everybody wants to get their boat winterized. They want to stretch it out as long as they can. But as soon as that first threat of freezing temperatures come, then they want their boat winterized. Well, what that means is that in the wintertime, boat dealers, boat mechanics, service shops don't have any work to do. The good ones manage it better than others, but there's always a group of people that can't understand why it's going to be 3 weeks for their work to get done in those, 4 weeks, 6 weeks to get done in those two major, get me out of the water, get me fixed up for and protected from freezing temperatures. And then there's also the time in the summer where people are using their boats, stuff's breaking, and they're doing repair work. and some maintenance work. And they're usually 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks out in some areas. And it's just something you want to think about. If you can do all your maintenance in the wintertime, a lot of times you can save money and you can get a really good relationship with a good quality marine technician because they appreciate that you understand the cycle and that you're not the person that calls them up the weekend before Memorial Day and say, hey, can you get my 100-hour service done and get me on the water for Memorial Day? Or you don't call them the day before the freeze warning comes out and say, hey, I'm going to bring my boat in for winterization. Can you get on that right away? It just doesn't happen. So understanding that cycle of a dealer, if you just think about it from a logical perspective, you'll know exactly when it is in your area, and you can get on the good side of a good marine tech, and they can be one of your best allies. Somebody like Bo. Also, painful seeing how such fine machines are abused by their owners. Yes, the things that you see, the way people put their boats away at the end of the year, the way they treated them through the year, it is that's why I say in a lot of my videos that it's the useful life of a pleasure boater's engine is much shorter than the useful life of that engine from a commercial person, because the commercial person takes care of it because it's their livelihood. The way pleasure boaters use it and the way they take care of it is completely different, and it shortens the life considerably. And some of the things that some people do, you shake your head, and you like, you have a beautiful boat and it's just destroyed because they don't cover it, they don't do their oil changes, they leave a wet towel in the ski locker, and mold starts everywhere. They never wash it, they never wipe it down. All of that stuff causes a problem. um, let's see. Little Drummer, question for Captain Matt. I'm looking at a 18 Bayliner VR6, 5 hours drive, 10K off. Anything around here? I live 78 hours. Is the drive worth it? Potentially. Yeah, potentially. I don't know. 10K off anything around here. So, couple of things that just want to make sure. If that around here is freshwater and the 10K off is a saltwater boat, the 10,000 isn't as good of a deal as you think it is. Saltwater boats have a 10 to 15% depreciation from the same exact freshwater boat. Okay. Because it's a rougher environment. It's a rougher life on that boat. Right. So if that's the case, then I would be hesitant to drive 5 hours if I'm heading towards the coast, if I'm heading towards salt. If it's freshwater to freshwater or saltwater to freshwater, then yeah, it could be a great idea. Merc 200 on that VR6, probably okay. I'm going to pull it up. 2018 Bayliner VR6. I want to see what their standard engine is on the VR6. Max horsepower. Okay, max horsepower 250. So it's the standard engine. Let me just, yeah, standard. That's gonna be okay. That's gonna be okay in that boat. 1,700 pounds, 22 feet overall, 8-foot beam. Yeah, that's gonna be with, if you're running, say, 4 adults, 3, 4 kids, you should be okay. If you're on the heavier side on the adults, maybe the 250, you'll always be happy you have the more horsepower in that situation, but it may not be as necessary. The fewer people, the lighter the people. Just something you want to, when you do your demo drive, something that you want to consider. How much weight do I have on the boat? How is it performing? And know for every 200 pounds that you add to the boat, performance is going to dip a good bit. And I can't give you a specific, but just know an extra couple 100 pounds is going to reduce performance. Another 200 pounds is going to reduce performance. So those would be a couple of the thoughts. Is it worth the drive? Here's my opinion on used boats: is used boats, you go where the boat is. You go where the boat is. That's a good deal. You're gonna have to find an independent service person anyway, unless you go to the local Bayliner dealer and buy a used boat from them. You're gonna have to find a service shop. If they work on Bayliners, they'll probably work on a used Bayliner that you bought from a private individual, especially one that's 5, 6 years old. It's not like you're coming in with a 2024 Bayliner and bought it from another dealer and they lost the opportunity for that sale. Then you're going to get the cold shoulder. But on a used boat like that, you're probably going to be okay. And there, it's with the Merc. You're going to be able to find a technician in almost everywhere throughout the U.S. So yeah, for that big of savings, then it's just all about condition. So which unfortunately, sometimes you got to make the drive to know what the condition is and to know whether it's worth the drive, and you just got to get there. If you can do a FaceTime first, sometimes you'll pictures don't always equal what the actual boat looks like. My buddy James found that out. Luckily, it was a local boat, but I met him up at Lake Norman when he was looking at boats, and the pictures looked awesome. I'm like, yeah, James, I like it. There was a couple things I didn't like about it. It had bottom paint on a 24-foot deck boat, which isn't great. And but he's like, that's okay. We might keep it in the water at some point anyway, and so we're never going to trailer it. So it's like, okay. We went and looked at it, and the boat was just beat down. The pictures looked amazing. Well, they used the pictures from the previous sale, not current pictures, and they got the angles just right on the current pictures that they did use. So you got to be aware of that. Maybe a FaceTime, maybe a current picture would be save you a 5-hour drive, but it's an adventure. It can be fun. I got a new 23 Cobalt CS23 purchased last year. Got a recall notice from Merck and stealing cable issue. It'll be my first recall. Any advice on navigating the recall? Just go to your dealer, work closely with your dealer, get started early. Again, just like Bo said, is the cycle starting. So boat shows are happening. Those boats get sold. They need to go through the service department to get rigged and prepped and ready to go. Then the weather starts warming up and the service department gets flooded with, I need my boat, ready for the season. And so you want to get ahead of all of that. So I would go now. Hey, dealer, got this recall notice. What do we need to do? How can I get the boat to you? Dave, I don't know how the proximity of your boat to the dealer, but the dealer's probably going to, for a steering cable, they're going to want the boat at their shop. They're going to want to work at it at their shop. So figure out a good, safe way to do that. I'm not a big fan of pulling boats through winter snow, but as long as the streets are in good condition and you can get the boat there safely, then do that. If you're on a lift, depends what the steering issue is, but I would much rather have the work done on my boat done in a temperature controlled service shop where I know the guys are going to be more comfortable. The cable is going to pull through easier because it's not so cold outside. Again, depending on where you live, if it's hot or cold, but just work closely with the dealer, work closely with the service administrator or service writer, and that should be helpful for you. That should be your first call. Hey, just got my notice. What do we need to do? How do we get this done? Because I want to start boating on April 1st, and then go from there. Beautiful boat there. Yes, that is a nice one. Just talked to friends of ours that are in Knoxville. They've got a place in Knoxville, live in Pittsburgh. Their daughter just moved down to the Carolinas, went to dinner with them Friday night, and he just got a new Cobalt, or a new to him Cobalt this year. He got a 242, which is the precursor to the R5, I think, is probably the right one. Beautiful, beautiful boats. Transom yes, for sure. I said mount it to the swim platform, but yeah, you've got to also understand that transom needs to be solid, because you go from the stern drive, you don't have a whole lot of weight on there. You got some torque and you got some flex with the steering and the taking off, but now you put all that weight here. Now you've got all that extra pressure on the transom that was designed to just have the pressure coming from the lower unit. Now you've got the whole swim platform. And if you don't reinforce that, bolt it up properly and install them properly, you got a whole nother set of issues. Seal it up good, because now you're through bolting through. You should on most boats reinforce that transom, because not only do you got all that weight back there, but now you've got all that torque of the new outboards, compared to the stern drive, where it's fairly low, and it's the boat's designed to have all of the force where it's at. Now you're moving it back, and you're mounting it to some sort of mounting bracket here. You got to make sure that transom's gonna support it. There is outboards transom. So I think I used, let's see here. Yeah, so if you look at like this right here, and there's also, I've seen some stern drive changes from stern drive. There's like a pod that you put in the little cutout, and it sort of looks like this, but it's designed to go mount in to where if there's a, like on a chaparral, what they call it, the V planing hull, some different places, there's a little pod mount you can put in, and it's got the mounting bracket for the outboards on there. But again, you got to make sure that is going to be strong enough for where the pressure is going to be. So some things to consider for sure. Looking for a crew of 5, my 21 bow rider, DJ, snacks, chicks, sports expert, and a stripper. Well, I can't help you with any of those. And I'm not sure where you are, but hey, put a post out on Facebook, and I'm guessing you can find all 5 of those if you're serious about it. There's one thing I can assure you: if you offer a fun time on your boat, you can fill that baby up in no time. So that is not a problem. At first, I thought that was, I read that as Jason Aldean, and I was like, hey, Jason, that's good to have you. Big fan of your music. Let's see here. What was I talking about? I don't know. Long as I can tell you for sure, the V6 is a great boat. Yeah. The boat itself is a good solid boat. In the value category for sure, but it's a boat that a lot of people who on here bought one recently. I featured them in my newsletter a couple of weeks ago, and it was, why is the name escaping me? I don't know. I forget who it was, but anyway, and they're loving it. They're absolutely loving it. And Bo, good to have you. Welcome. RC Flying Club. Okay. Yeah, I think as far as the quality of the boat, the VR6 it's a value boat. But it's Bayliner is, let me pull it up. VR6 Bayliner. So here's where they're saving their money, and I'm hoping to get this. I need to go to a boat graveyard. I'm going to pull up, was it a VR6, VR5? And I'll show you. So when you tap on the fiberglass, somewhere on the gunnel, you'll notice that it doesn't sound as solid when you tap on we'll say a Monterey, a Crown Line mid-tier. Definitely different than when you tap on a Cobalt, a Chaparral, a Sea Ray. It's a different feel. The thickness of the cushions, it's going to be a little thinner than, again, the mid tier is going to be a little thicker. The premium tier is going to be even thicker still. The windshield, if you look at the windshield, it doesn't go all the way through. It's got this little cutout. The stanchion is not as stout and sturdy. When I sold Sea Ray, you could stand on the windshield, and it would, on a 21-foot 205 Sport, I'm 220 pounds. I could stand on the windshield and it would be fine. It's you don't need that. It doesn't. Who's going to stand on the windshield? You aren't going to be able to do it on this. It's not as stout. It's not as sturdy. But the reality of the way most people boat, it is safe. It's safe. It's going to be fine. You just got to take care of it. The upholstery is going to be a little thinner. The nice thing about buying a 2018 is it's 5, 6 years old. If it's going to have issues, they're going to show themselves, right? They're going to show, oh, I can see this wear and tear. I can see this hatch and latch not quite lining up. I can see this stainless starting to rust a little bit. And you'll be able to see all those things. But when it comes down to it, it's got a Merc Cruiser under the hood. It's got an Alpha 1 probably, which is a proven drive. And you've got a good fun boat for your family that's going to fit the budget. And that's critical. That's critical. So, and the other things that save money, like if you look at the interior on the value boats, you'll see they don't have any cutouts. They don't have recessed cup holders. They don't have like things aren't contoured in different places. It's pretty flat and basic. That's just because it's cheaper and easier to build that way. Doesn't make it less quality. It's just cheaper to build that way. Now it's fun to have a inserted cup holder where you can put it in when you're sitting up in the bow versus just having a cup holder. If we look, why do they do that? I don't understand why Pop Yachts wants to. I mean, I get it. They want to get the lead, but let people look at the boat. Pop cells. I don't want pop cells. I want. So when you look at the cup holders down here, that's easier to build in on the cup holder down here than in the mold building out a recess in here that then you got to finish off and you've got to plumb with a tube for the water so it doesn't leak into a compartment where it's going to cause mold and stuff. It's just a cheaper way to build it, a less expensive way to build it, not cheaper quality. So they do things like that as well. Just more basic stuff. And we talked about the upholstery, we talked about the cushioning, and that's how they keep the price down. And again, on a 2018, if it was cheaply built and it's going to cause a problem, it's going to start showing itself already in those situations. So, all right, V6, great starter boat, easy use, simple design. Yep, all those still fairly early in that boat's life cycle, but it's not the newest. So there's when 2000, let's see here, 2015. So 2015 was the first run of that. And the way I look at it is I don't want to be the first generation of anything in boating. It's too likely to have a dumb flaw that's going to drive you crazy. But the second, third year, they've got it all figured out, especially at Bayliner. They put several hundred of those boats on the water in 2015, 2016, 2017, another couple hundred, maybe 500 even on this boat. And great. They worked all the kinks out. And now by 2018, 2019, they've got all the dumb stuff fixed. And they're rolling with it. Now it's 2024, and they're still running the same mold, just a few different color schemes, a few minor cosmetic changes, aesthetic changes. But they've got a good solid boat when they keep running that mold for more than 7 years, and they're probably getting close to that. Thanks, love it. Midwest application, perfect. I'm in Wisconsin. Where are you? Have a 23. All right, let me see. Yeah, thank you, little drummer. I appreciate it, and I definitely appreciate the contribution. Always appreciated. Got any other questions? Just throw them in there. Let's see here. Wisconsin. I'm assuming, Matt. I think you know where I am. I think that's for somebody else, but I didn't catch who you were. I know Matt is. Okay, there we go. You got it with Dave. chaparral, all okay, all freshwater areas. Yeah, then you're good. Then I would absolutely the drive would be worth it. And again, just double check on get some good fresh pictures. Make sure they're recent. Remember when you were servicing Malibu, not being used as the oil cap. Yeah, you'll find some crazy there. The craziest one when I was working at the marina, somebody had stuffed a rag in the gas cap. The gas cap was gone, so they just stuck a rag in there, like a shop rag that they had. You're like, that's dumb on a number of reasons. One, you're soaking fuel fumes in from one side, and on the other side, you're putting water in. You're putting water in the tank. I guess it's better than having nothing there. But yeah, you see some crazy stuff. Nice vessel as well. Hour north of Indy. Um, Good. I love when little side conversations going. I got to sort through them a little bit, but where I think of Midwest boating, I'm reminding my relative. Yes, yeah, the pontoons. I mean, that's where they started. Minnesota, for all research that I've ever seen, Minnesota is kind of the home of where the pontoon started, despite them all being made in Indiana, around that area for the most, like I would say 80% of pontoon builders outside of Verandas in Arkansas, Massimo's in Texas. Um, there's probably a couple others that I'm missing, but majority of pontoons are built in the Indiana area. But yeah, that's where they got their start. That's where they got started up. Mike Alexander, welcome. Looking for a pontoon most of January. Had no idea they were as much small. I learned that I need to try to probably 150. Yes, yeah, you will be able to find a mid tier around 40. Now if you're looking brand new, if you're looking brand new, it might be a stretch if you, especially if you need a trailer. Trailer on the boat's probably 5-6 thousand. But let's look at who's going to be a good. Well, let's just do this. Sun Tracker 22 XP3 150. All right. So the reason I use Sun Tracker is because I know they put their pricing out there, and they're at 42, I think, right now. 49.9. Freight trailer. Okay. So they're going to be 50. So that's a 22 with the 150 with a tri-tune. But I think let me see. I think that's with the trailer. Um, Total Gregory's 4-stroke. No cover. You definitely want to cover. And console interior. Tell me if you got a trailer. Yeah, I'm gonna. It's got a painted trailer. I'm almost certain they package all of them with painted trailer. But for whatever reason, I'm not seeing it. Towing length, storage length. Yeah, it's got to include the trailer. So 53 with the cover and a trailer. Everything but taxes. All right. So that's on a brand new. So you're gonna be hard pressed to find a brand new one, but you can find matter of fact that this is a search I have set up in Boat Trader right now. And if we just search used 2018 to 2022, 45,000. Pontoon. One thing I don't like about Boat Trader on pontoons is you can't search pontoon tritoon and you can't search horsepower, which is kind of frustrating. I'm really surprised they haven't done that. But so like here's one at a dealer, a 2020 Bennington 22 SRX with, let's just make sure. It's got a Yamaha 175 freshwater boat, Lake Murray, which is just south of me in Columbia. This is a good quality dealer. No trailer. Yeah, no trailer. So again, $4, $5, $6,000 on a trailer, depending on if you need painted, if you need aluminum, if you need what you need. You definitely want dual axle. But so you're getting, so that's their advertised price. You can probably get that down a decent amount, depending on how aggressively they've priced it online to start. But the Bennington's a premium level, but the S model is I put those in the mid tier. It's their value line within the Bennington brand, and so you'll be able to find something pre-owned, and you'll be able to find a good number of them. 22 Crest 34, that might be a tritoon. That's got a 140 Suzuki on it probably. Mirage Sylvan mid tier, Bentley value, Crest, a DLX. Crest is mid tier. I don't know where the DLX lies. Crestliner mid tier. So you'll be able to find a nice early model, 2018 to 2022 with what you're looking for. At the saltwater boat. Harris. 2019 Veranda. Ooh, that's looking a little bit rough, huh? Yeah, I always get nervous when I see a boat with only a couple of pictures, especially when the ones that are on there are like not great. That's I don't know anything about this boat, but I'm just gonna stay away from this one. 100 hours, 150. So yeah, Mike, you'll be able to find it. You have to look pre-owned to get under 40, especially if you're looking with a trailer. But they're going to be out there, and they're going to be on the newer side. And I just looked in 200 200 miles of my zip code, which got us into a decent amount of salt. But I would never buy a used saltwater pontoon. It's you're asking, especially if you're a freshwater person, you're asking for trouble. But yeah, you're definitely going to find them out there. BC Outdoor, welcome. Let me know if you've got other questions, Mike. Be happy to jump in those for you. Let's see. Great points, Matt and Rob. Formula sells my same boat with the outboard now, so they have a factory outboard bracket available. Spitballing some options. Hull's still great. Tired of flushing. Yeah, it is. It's much easier on the outboards for sure. On those, yeah, especially Formula, Formula's done a nice job of converting their stern drive models, because they were 10 years ago, they were all stern drive, and now virtually everything they have has an outboard option. And well, okay. So virtually every size category, they're going to have an outboard option. I don't remember what year your Formula is now, but the balancing is probably the biggest part. When they started converting the stern drives to outboards, and they just were slapping outboards on the stern drive model, some of the manufacturers had issues with performance because of that. And 20 oh crap, 24-24, 3 minutes left of the third. Let's see. Oh, Mike, thank you very much. Much appreciated for sure. It sounds like it's a good game brewing here, and keep the updates coming. Dan Moore, welcome to the live. Dan is actually a buddy of mine, former roommate, former boss, um, former man in my wedding, and he said he might be joining, and also former Hoosier. Or no, once a Hoosier, always a Hoosier. So he's a Fort Wayne Hoosier variety, and and an IU alum. So all right, where are we at here? Great points. Thank you. 20. Okay, Kings in the City. Yeah, keep them coming. 24-24. 3 minutes in the third. Wayne, looking to replace the salon flooring in my carver. Any recommendation on material other than carpet? Wayne, I don't know. I wish I know a lot of people have put. They've gone to, I'll say hardwood, but it's faux hardwood. But I don't know what they're using. I don't know what the manufacturers are using. Um, Hardwood for I'm gonna put in Sea Ray, a Sundancer, and see if we can find out. You got the marine mat. I wouldn't put that inside my boat. The spilling um is Mohawk. That's not right. There we go. So this is what I was looking with is something in the Club Sea Ray. If you've got a cruiser and you're looking for some do it yourself repairs, the the Club Sea Ray is a great resource. Pondering the same question, crickets, been unique, respectful. Seem to be improvements, laminates that are marine grade, like carpet for sound. Okay, that's interesting. Sound harder to keep clean, get moldy for sure. Um, there we go. Yeah, that's the style that you're seeing in a lot of them, but I don't know what brand they're using. Let's see what this guy. Love it. Carpet doesn't belong in most our sides. They smell, get dirty, require maintenance. You need to worry. They're no longer carpet. Solution was glued. Uh, Great. Yeah, you definitely are going to want something that's going to be marine grade because you're going to get a lot of moisture and you're going to get a lot of you need to be aware of the expanding and contracting and the warping. I think would be a major issue if you don't get the right material. But I would poke around on some of these flooring or some of these. I would also, oh, who do I know? Who do I know that would have done YouTube? Andy at Boatworks today. Andy does a lot of cruisers, but he's mainly fiberglass and gel coat work. I'm gonna see if he has any flooring. Teak installation, non-skid, fiberglass. Yeah, he's the only. Oh, what's this one here? He's the only guy on YouTube that I would trust his opinion on something like this. Some of the guys that do boat refurbs and they're flipping them. Some of the things that they do look great and are inexpensive to do a YouTube video and then sell that boat or use it for a couple of months. Long term, I think some of those fixes that they use, some of the techniques they use are going to leave a boater in bad shape. And so I don't want to point you in the wrong direction. But if Andy doesn't have it, I'm almost certain that Aaron at Born Again Boating doesn't. There's nobody else that jumps out at me, but maybe jump around on his channel and you can find something. Go into the Club C Ray boards, and then go. I don't know where you're at for sure, Wayne, but you know what? Redoing flooring in my Carver yacht. Custom bloat flooring. Bamboo 360. Yeah, so that looks nice, but again, it's Matt Works. Let's see what they got to say. Let me see how we're doing on. All right, doing good. Cockpit carpets. Okay, yeah, that's going to be, yeah. So you have to do some digging around, but there might be a boatyard in your area, Wayne, that you can call upon and ask. I guarantee that this job has been done thousands and thousands and thousands of times. You just want to steal other people's experience so you can avoid the mistakes that they've discovered, and find the right material. And if you're going to do it yourself, find out um, the mistakes that they made installing it that you can avoid. And what I'm thinking of is, that you've got flex in a boat. Your carver is going to flex if you're out in rough seas. It's going to have the moisture dry. It's going to have temperature fluctuations. So you want to avoid the products and the installation procedures and processes that are going to be more prone to having those issues cause damage. So hopefully that helps. But I don't have anything specific for you. If you look up 23 SSI, you can show him, get a comparison. 2023, 2024, 23 SSI. RAL. There we go. All right, so this is for Little Drummer Boy. Just as a comparison on the different. So the Bayliner to a. So the stainless is another big one. This stain here in freshwater, so it's not as big a deal. Matter of fact, it's I wouldn't worry about it at all. The stainless on a premium is going to be 3/16. It's more. It's not going to eliminate rust and corrosion, but it's more durable, for that. If you can kind of see, and you'll see it when if you go to a boat show or go look, the cushions, like just the thickness of the cushioning is there, and it's real easy. This is a video that I want to do as well when I get a chance to go to a boat show this year, is to show the different levels, why I say premium, mid-tier, value, and just on a generic basis, like you'll see it because they're getting their stuff from the same suppliers for the most part, and you can see it. So I need to. That's something that's going to be a video that's in my head. I just need to get it out into the world. Let's see. Again, thank you for that. What's everyone's thoughts on Merc Cruiser single point drain for winterizing 6.2? Scares me a little coming from an old Merc 350. It's when you do those things, you just got to make sure you follow the procedures. And like, so I don't know on the Merc, but here's what I discovered on the Volvo is you hit the plunger, it all plunges. You gotta do a couple of different things after that to make sure you get the water out everywhere. But it's the recommissioning where you got to pay attention, because what I discovered, and this is on a 2018, um, uh, might be a 6.2. I don't remember. An 18 Volvo. It's going to be the same system, but what happens is that if you crank it up in the water, not on muffs, it's probably not as bad if you got good pressure, but if you just crank it up in the source, sometimes that the impeller doesn't get primed because it's inside the engine compartment, right? And that water doesn't get in because there's nothing in there to start the suction process. And if you let it run, they have a problem of those overheating and burning up your impeller. And if you let it run too long, overheating the engine because it never primes. So when the tech was showing me, and I've actually got a video of it that I don't know that I've ever put out, but the tech was showing me, he's like, you want to crank it up with the engine hatch open. And then the first thing you want to do is go and touch the housing, the impeller housing. And it on a Cobalt, on a Volvo, it's real easy. It's like right there. Touch it to make sure it's warm to the touch and not burning hot. He said, because every year they have a bunch of impellers that they have to replace. And every now and again, some people that just really aren't noticing alarms going off and let it run, engines that are overheating and warping and causing real big damage, real expensive damage. So you want to talk to some people. I can't think of anything on the Mercruiser that's similar, but just ask around, talk to some techs. But there's nothing I'm aware of on that that would be problematic. But you've got things like, you got to make sure that the boat's at the right angle. So if you've got it on the trailer and it's up like this, does that single drain system still drain everything? Do you have to have it level? Those types of things matter, and the attention to detail is really important when you talk about getting water out of the system for winter freezing time. Let's just do this. 2022 Cruiser 6.2 single point system issues. Here you go. Why you shouldn't. Let's just see what this guy has to completely trust. This guy, but and sometimes my videos don't play very well when I'm streaming. Um, yeah, this is going to be one of them. Crap. But I would watch this video and see. Yeah, it's going to keep hanging up. But I would watch that video. I'm going to put it aside so I can watch it as well. And that's on a 2018, I think is what he said. Um, yeah, I'll have to see what he says there. Good question, though. Thank you for that one, Dave. Okay, thanks coming from Indiana. Um, more than corn in Indiana. Yes, yes. I'm from Nebraska, so I'm. We got a lot of that as well. Sylvan Starcraft might be under 40. They're going to be. Uh, let's see here. Build your Sylvan GL Mirage XS. Yeah, I mean they're starting MSRP 65 to 73. Um, so let's just do a basic. I like the 22 foot. Why? There we go. Mirage X. I like a 22-foot on a pontoon. For a tri-tune, gives you good space, gives you good handling in rough water. Performance package, we'll just go with the standard. Okay, that's included, so that's at 42.7 if you can see that. We'll go at Suzuki. Suzuki is going to be the cheapest option. Suzuki, the 140 could do it for you. There's a $3,000 difference. So this is with the 140 Suzuki. So that gets us to 58 on retail. So 58, let's call it 20% off. So 12. So that gets you to what, 46? Yeah, so that gets you to about 46 without a trailer. Just super, super rough numbers. But yeah, wow, that's crazy. That doesn't include the trailer. I was just gonna say that's crazy because I would put, although this is the base model, this Mirage X, but against the Sun Tracker, that would be, I would put this as a higher quality. Although you can tell just from the picture how simple and basic the upholstery is, the interior is, and they also have really limited the furniture with the swing back. And that 22, you don't have a ton of seating in this particular model that I picked. They've got the center walkthrough, which might be a little bit better, but all right. Let's see. Would you consider high hours for a motor in general? So I've got a video on this, Little Drummer. The let's see here, videos. It's called "How Many Hours Are Too Many?" Here's the gist of it: the useful life of a pleasure boat engine is 1,000 to 1,500 hours. So that's what you can expect it when you hit 1,000 hours. Expect to have repairs, and you've got some bigger jobs. You've got at 500 hours. There's a pretty major, typically 600 hours. There's pretty major stuff that you need to do. So your annual service, your 600-hour service, is probably going to be in the $1,000-1,500 range, or maybe even more, depending on the motor. But you get to 1,000, you're going to have repairs. Like you're going to have stuff breaking down and more expensive maintenance items that, hey, it's just starting to wear out. 1,500, I'm going to stay away. So that's the overall. If it's saltwater, you're also going to probably put a 10-year window on it, that in 10 years, if you haven't got that 1,000 hours, 1,500 hours by then, yeah, you're probably going to be hard pressed to get much further than that, because salt over time, and again, if they take excellent care of it, maybe more, but this is just a general rule of thumb. Now, you're looking at a 2018. So another general rule of thumb is freshwater lake boaters typically will run 50 hours a year. Now, the colder the climate, the lower that number might be. The warmer the climate, the higher that number might be. For my experience in the Carolinas, it was about 50. It's about the same throughout the country. If you're a river boater, it'll be more because you're running a lot more. But what lake boaters do a lot, especially on a Bayliner or a bow rider, is they're going to cruise around, go to some restaurants, they're going to go to a cove. And this is the way I boat. I might be on the water for 8 hours, but the engine is probably running for 2, right? So it's not that the boat's not getting used. It's just that a lot of the usage time is sitting at anchor and just hanging out. So 50 hours a year. So you figure, though, you're a freshwater guy. So you figure if a boat's got 500 hours on it, let's say it's 5 years old, they put 100 hours a year on it. That's, in my opinion, higher than normal usage. But the math I want to do is, let's say I run 50 hours a year. I've got another 10 years of that boat. That's a lot of time. 10 years to only get me to 1,000. And I've got another 10 that will get me to 1,500. So I've got 20 years with that boat. And if I take great care of it, I can easily get there, right? My gotta do those expensive maintenance things that the book says, hey, you gotta take this apart, you gotta change that belt or this gizmo. You got to do it, and then you can get to that 1,000-hour marker, or even beyond. If you really take good care of it, you use it consistently, you put it away right at the end of every year. So those are the two key data points: 1,000 to 1,500 max, about 50 hours a year is average. So do the math on how long you want to keep the boat, how many hours you think you're going to use it if you do a lot of water sports, if you boat on a river where you're going to be doing more cruising, or you like to cruise, you like to go places, you're on a big body of water, great. Make those adjustments, do the math, and that will tell you about how long you've got left from that boat. But typically on that 2018, if it had over 400 hours, I'd be shocked. That would be higher than normal, but not worrisome. Like my parents bought a rental pontoon from the Lake of the Ozarks. It was 2 years old and it had 500 and some hours on it. And I was like, hey, they took care of that thing. They took care of that engine better than anybody else would have taken care of it, because they were a dealer that they needed that boat to be running good every time out of the water. So if anything was off, they fixed it. Yes, they probably dumped, there were some dings and nicks on the boats, but my parents didn't care. They just needed a nice, reliable boat. They're not cared about, they want nice stuff. They take good care of their things, but they didn't care if it was perfect, right? It was better for them to save the money, because it's a lake house is 6 hours away. They're going to use it a handful of times a year. They're not going to put hardly any hours on it. Like if they put 20 hours on it a year, it's a lot for them right now. So that 500 hours was really irrelevant, because the way they were going to use it, they're never going to hit 1,000 hours. Matter of fact, they've had it for probably 6-8 years now, and it might have 500 on it, or another couple hundred. So I think they're under 700 hours on it still. So that's the way I think about hours, and I talk about it in that video in more detail. Dustin, welcome. Hey fellas, hope everyone has been okay. Kids made it out of the Houston Boat and Auto Show. Lots of good deals. One booth had a 2013 Viaggio 22 fishing model. Yeah, you're going to see with cover and trailer for 55. Yeah. So you're going to see, I'm going to put Viaggio in the middle. They are the former Misty Harbor, but they've got a really sharp looking boat. And 55 boat motor trailer is a pretty good. Let's see. Did he say trailer? But yeah, and that the Houston show is the one I was thinking of besides the New York. The Houston show is big as well. And that's a pretty significant show. But yeah, so 55,000. Thank you, Dustin, for that data point. And with cover and trailer for 55. So yeah, that's about, and that's the boat show price. Maybe there's a little bit more that you can move on that, depending on what kind of manufacturer discounts and stuff they had included in there. But yeah, that's, I think you'll want to go pre-owned for that. I need to put my new book, for those of you that don't know, I think I mentioned this last week, but my book is now live. So it is official. Amazon. It is official that my book is now on Amazon. You can get it right here. And I'm pretty excited about that, to get that done finally. and it turned out great. I think if you're not a video person, I think everybody on here is probably a video person. But I've been told, hey, not everybody watches YouTube, so if you could share your information in another format, and so you can now get the book. And I'm working on it, but this is if you need the paperback, you can get it there. But I'm gonna give it away for free if you just want the PDF download. I don't think is it boatbuyersbook.com? No, Boat Buyer Book. I think I got to get Boat Buyers Book. That seems, yeah, boatbuyersbook.com. If you just put in your email, you can get the book sent to you via PDF. And I'm also, when I get the time, I'm going to do an audio recording, so folks that want to just listen can listen to it while they're driving in their car. Although there's a lot of pictures and stuff in there that I think would be helpful to actually see, and references to videos, but I'll record it and get it out there. Let's see, what's Brock up to? Went and looked at the 21 TRX Thursday, took it for a ride. Had just over 400 hours, 250, no service records. Yeah, that's only a few years old. The hull is pretty dirty, some dings. Gonna look good from 50 feet away. It was only a 20-minute drive. Yeah, that's the nice thing, especially this time of year. And I know fishing's going to be starting up, but be patient. You know, Brock's been looking now for a couple of months. He lost a couple because they found a seller. But just being patient, and that perfect boat's out there. If you got the money, you got the time, and this time of year, like, you're not really seriously going boating for another couple of months. Now, that might not be true for Brock with his level of fishing that he does, but for most folks, you're not going to go until it gets in at least the 60s, 70s consistently. So just be patient, take your time. Yes, there are some great deals out there. Yes, you can get caught up in the excitement of the boat show, but be patient. The right boat is out there. If you can't get them to the right price, if there's something that like just turns you off, too many red flags, as I talk about in the book and in some of my videos, just walk away. I promise you, there'll be another boat out there that's going to suit your needs. And unless it's so super specific. Like, I had a guy that's been emailing me, and he is looking for a 2018 fiberglass deck boat. I forget the manufacturer, that's no longer building them. They were a small manufacturer. They maybe made 100 of these boats to start with, and that's the specific boat he's looking for. He's like, where can I find it? If you're that specific, maybe you got to act. If you find one, you got to act. But for a majority of people, you focus it on a category. Want a 21-foot bow rider that's in the value category in this price range. I want a 22-foot tri-tune with a 150 or more on a trailer. Great. That boat's going to be out there. I mean, I just did the search on Boat Trader, and there were 2 pages of them in my area in February. So, or I guess end of January. So they'll be out there. Be patient. Thanks, Captain. I'm going to be a do-live project. Want to know if, yeah, I wish I could give you something better. Wayne, if you shoot me an email at this email address, I'll ask around. And if I know somebody that has done some work or done that type of refurb, and it's one of the things that I want to do is I want to start interviewing experts in other areas of the country and in other, like, I interviewed a guy that does he does a lot of fuel injector work in California, because they are all ethanol. You can't get 100% gasoline in California. And so, my daughter asked me if I could be quiet so she can sleep. So I think we're probably coming up on the end here. We're over an hour. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, bringing in additional experts. And so this would give me a good opportunity for somebody that's refurbed some cruisers. And maybe I can find somebody. Makes sense. Seat pump, prime, impeller. Yes. Yeah, for sure. When are you going skydiving without a parachute, 20,000 feet? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about there. Let's see here. We'll hide him. 24 model, same boat, was marked down to 72 with the trailer and cover. So yeah, 72 to, what was it, 55. And so here's what they do. They're not going to mark down the 2024 as much as they're going to mark down the 2023. Once the 23 is gone, then they may come down more on the 24, but they're going to discount this one as much as they can to get it out the door. And then they're not going to move. If you want this one, the 24, you can pay the price they're asking. They're not going to negotiate hardly at all. But on this one's where you've got the opportunity, unless they've already put all their cards on the table. They said, hey, this is the best we can do. We're at the boat show. We can sell it here. Great. And something to consider. Only a 78. Yeah, there you go. So prime example, 5-year-old boat, 80 hours. You got a lifetime. It's practically new as long as they did the oil changes and did the service that they needed to. Boat show data point was Chicago Boat Show last year. This year, towboats 23. Half of the boats were sold by Sunday. This year didn't see a single sold boat. Interesting. I know a couple dealers that were at the Cleveland show, the Chicago, no, not the Chicago show, the New York show, Houston show, the Charleston and Greenville show. So I'll find out from them how the sales numbers looked. And you always got to take it with a grain of salt when you're talking to the salespeople and the sales managers. Is they're salespeople. Sometimes they exaggerate how well things work. Just email some photos. Oh, thank you, appreciate that. Yes, that is a good family outing. So, all right, since I got scolded by my daughter, she's got school in the morning. I'm going to call it quits tonight. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Oh, where are you at? Where are you at? There we go. Little drummer. Appreciate it very much. And hope you guys have a great weekend. We will do it next Sunday. And then we are off Super Bowl Sunday. So take care, guys. Have a good, safe week. And we will talk to you next time.